Today, we're going to break down a single, absolutely terrifying scene to see how a master of horror builds a moment of pure, supernatural dread. But first, just think about that for a second. What does true panic actually look like? Is it just, screaming, running for the hills? Well, the author of this scene takes a way more clever, way more insidious approach. It starts not with a monster, but with that very first moment fear takes hold.
And bam, here's our entry point. We are dropped right into the middle of the chaos with this one panicked line from a character named Laura. We have no idea what she's seeing, but the sheer panic in her voice tells us everything we need to know. Whatever it is, it's really, really bad.
So, an alarming observation. The genius of this scene is that it kicks off not with the horror itself, but with someone's reaction to it. It's such a smart way to build suspense because it forces us to discover what's going on right alongside the characters. We see the effect long before we ever see the cause. And this technique, it's just so effective. By starting with the reaction, the scene is immediately charged with this incredible tension and mystery. Your mind is already racing, trying to picture what could be so awful before the author even shows you a thing. All right, and now the ectoplasm appears. We finally get the reveal. That abstract fear we were just feeling is about to get a very physical and very, very grotesque form. The description starts out simply enough. A thick material, coming from glowing eyes. It's unsettling for sure, but trust me, the author is just getting warmed up. Just starting to layer on these disturbing little details one by one. And look at the specific words the author uses here to make this thing feel disgustingly real. It's not just slime, it's a paste-like substance. It's not just a tentacle, it's shaped like a deformed snake. Every single word is chosen to make you feel that disgust and to make this supernatural event feel horribly, horribly present. So now we get to a spirit's trick. Now that we've seen what is happening, the author completely raises the stakes by explaining why it's happening. This isn't just some random monster attack, there are rules to this game. Right when the panic is at its absolute peak, the character Connie Lane kind of steps in as the expert in the room. She gives this thing a game, and more importantly, she gives it a purpose. This one sentence completely changes how we see the threat. And this right here, this is the absolute crucial point. The ectoplasm itself isn't really the weapon. The fear is the weapon. This gross substance is just the delivery system, a tool created specifically to terrify everyone in that room. I mean, that's just brilliant world building. It totally elevates the scene from simple body horror to this tense psychological battle. The spirit has a clear goal, which, interestingly, means the characters now have a clear way to fight back. So here's the central conflict, laid out perfectly. The spirit's goal is to increase fear and gain power. The character's only defense is to fight it by remaining calm. All of a sudden, every character's emotional state becomes this life-or-death struggle. The author spells it out for us through Connie. This whole thing is a trick. The spirit is actively trying to bait them, to provoke them into a panic. This makes the horror so much more personal, so much more intense, because the real battlefield is inside their own minds. But of course, just as we think we understand the rules of the game, the situation worsens. The author doesn't give anyone a single second to get comfortable. They just crank up the pressure. Just look at how fast things escalate here. First, the ectoplasm is pouring from Dee Dee's eyes, nose, and mouth, literally choking her. But then, just as all the focus is on her, bam, the threat jumps to a totally different person, Zelda. It's a classic, terrifying misdirection. You see what the author's doing here, right? It's a way to create total chaos. By shifting the threat from person to person, nobody can focus on a single problem. It creates this overwhelming sense of helplessness. Just when you think you've got a handle on it, the attack comes from somewhere new. And now we get to it, a voice from beyond. This is the horrifying climax of the scene. After all the physical gross-out stuff and the psychological mind games, the true antagonist, the spirit itself, finally decides to speak. Wow, I mean, that is just bone-chilling. That taunt is just dripping with this sick, malicious glee. This isn't some mindless monster, it's smart, it's cruel, and it is having the time of its life watching them suffer. And think about the contrast there. It's what makes the line so unbelievably creepy. The author could have had the spirit say something demonic, something you'd expect. Instead, they use this innocent, almost happy image of getting an ice cream cone and twist it into something absolutely repulsive. That contrast is what makes your skin crawl.
And that's the final, horrifying reveal. The spirit's ultimate motivation isn't really about power or some grand evil plan. It's just sadism. It's an evil intelligence that is literally feeding on their revulsion. It is enjoying their disgust.
So, that brings us to the final question to chew on. The spirit's goal was to cause fear. Connie told them the only way to fight it was to stay calm. But they all reacted with disgust. So is disgust just another shade of fear? In this psychological war, by showing how grossed out they were, did the characters actually fall right into its trap anyway? You gotta wonder, did the spirit actually win this round?